Hey everybody, I am David, and today I want to talk about for the Planet of the Apes, the third movie in the Planet of the Apes trilogy, starting with Rise, then going into Dawn, and now with War. Usually it's supposed to be the Dawn before the Rise, but okay, you probably heard all of that already, so I'm not going to get into that joke. But technically, this is the ninth film in the franchise, if you count the first five movies from the 70s, and then the Charlton Heston ones, and then you count the Tim Burton one. Altogether, technically, this is the ninth Planet of the Apes film, but it's the third in this new reboot trilogy. So these are the ones that really matter. Let me start off by saying that I really enjoy this franchise. This was the reboot. This reboot was the one that made me a fan of the Planet of the Apes movies. I have gone back and watched all the old ones. The Tim Burton one I remember watching a long time ago when that first came out, and that didn't really make me a fan. It was these ones that made me the fan, and went back and understood the mythology that these movies clearly borrow a lot from, especially the later three films in those first five films. The character of Caesar, played by Andy Serkis, is such a great character, a strong and powerful leader, and he continues his journey struggling with his ape heritage as well as his humanity, because he has had encounters with humans, and so there is a little bit of that humanity in Caesar, I think, that we all enjoy from him. But he struggles a lot with what humans struggle with: vengeance, revenge, all of that. And so there is a darker side of Caesar that I think makes Caesar a really interesting character that we get to see a lot more of in this movie, and where he makes some choices that, can result in the end of his race. This definitely is a war film. It's not like an action movie where there are a couple of action beats here and there. This is a war movie through and through. So I want to warn you people up ahead, if you're going in looking for a cool summer blockbuster action movie, this is not the one. And that's not to take from the film. This is a really good film which takes its time with the story. So there are a couple of slow moments, but they're needed for this type of story that they're trying to tell. And I think Matt Reeves, the director of the movie, who also directed the last one, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, does a really good job at crafting the story around these characters. Woody Harrelson plays the villain of the movie, and I think he is very threatening, very intimidating. There are some intense moments in this movie. I don't know how kids will be with this type of a film. This is not a fun apes film like the ones before. This is a really dark and serious Planet of the Apes films that's really well done. And the fact that these apes look so real gets us invested in these great characters. And there are a couple of other apes in the movie too that you'll recognize from the previous movies as well, the last two films. Specifically Maurice, who was the orangutan, who has been in the movies since Rise of the Planet of the Apes. There are a couple of characters here for hardcore apes fans to recognize, such as Cornelius. You might remember that name. I think he was introduced in the last Planet of the Apes movie as a baby. He was like the newborn. You get a little bit of more of Cornelius, not too much, but a little bit more in this movie, who, if hardcore apes fans will know as like one of the original ape characters in the original movie. And then we also have Nova, who is a little girl who the apes kind of take under their wing, and she's kind of the thing that is keeping the apes' humanity intact throughout the film, because of her innocence and because of what she offers. There's a lot of great moments with this Nova character and Caesar in particular. I think there's a really nice moment there. If you watch the movie already, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to not try to spoil it, but there's a really nice moment where Caesar's thirsty and Nova decides to give him a drink of water. I'll leave it at that. I don't think that's a huge spoiler in the movie. But I thought it was a really nice emotional scene, and I thought every scene in this movie was nicely shot and nicely directed. I felt the apes, because people have to remember that the motion capture is the acting of the actors still. Specifically, Caesar, Andy Serkis, is terrific in every scene he's in, and every emotion that he brings to this character, you feel it, and it's just like awe-inspiring to watch, because sometimes I do forget that, oh yeah, that's actually a person there, man. You have to snap yourself out of it. Sometimes I can tell it's Andy Serkis, but then sometimes it's like the ape takes over, and it's like, that's it, I'm lost. This is an ape talking in a movie like this. It's amazing. It just shows how much technology has expanded, especially this type of technology, since the first Lord of the Rings movie back in 2001. It's amazing. There's not too much action in this movie. There's a lot of slow-mo stuff. I'm going to say that. That might make people a little restless, maybe, unless you are really invested in the story like I was. I think you'll be all right with it. With that being said, guys, I'm trying to think if there was anything that I didn't like. Other than the slow pacing at times, I do think this is a worthy movie of checking out in the theaters. I think if you are a fan of the first two films, you will like this movie. I am going to admit, though, that this is not my favorite of the three. This is my least favorite. But even that, I still think is worth checking out. I think this is a worthy addition to this trilogy. And it's a nice closing, wrapping up the arc of Caesar, I think. So I'm going to totally recommend it. I am giving this movie an 8.5 out of 10. Go and check it out. This is the type of movie that deserves people spending the money on and checking it out, because it is a really well done film. So with that being said, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and until next time, guys, I hope this review was useful to you guys. Leave your comments below if you've seen the movie, and until next time, take care.